Holy shit, this thing changes direction. No wallow and weight transfer. Woo! Shit! Oh my god! What a machine! There we go.
Welcome to Downshift, everyone. My name is Paulo.
And my name is Matt, and a few years ago, some of you might remember that I actually visited a comparison similar to this. It was when the then M340i was new, and it was the G20 versus the outgoing F80 M3. But now we've had the M340 for a number of years. It's established itself as a high reputation vehicle, and now we're gonna see how it stacks up to its bigger brother, the G80. And we're gonna start with some track stuff. So thanks to Road America for letting us use their Motorplex to set some hot laps. Get it spun round. There we go, there's some temperature in the brakes. This feels so much better. Oh, I'm way early on brakes there. Good trail brake there. Still overwhelming traction a bit. I still haven't put a clean lap together yet, but the car is so much more well behaved. So much more front end on corner entry. So much more back end on corner exit. This is gonna be it. Holy shit, this thing changes direction. No wallow and weight transfer. Woo! Shit! Oh my god! What a machine! Here we go. Here's a rhythm. Oh, the downhill sucks. I got my blinker on. How in the world have I done that? Carbon ceramics, I love you. Jesus Christ.
All right, well, yeah, I'm really upset that I was not able to attend with you on Wednesday, but just like based on the footage, it looked incredible. And I know that was the fastest you've ever gone around the track.
Yes.
We did a 57,
by like a significant margin.
57.4.
Yes.
Which is incredible. And actually all your lap times were below 58 seconds.
Yeah, it was super consistent. Even laps that I thought I had like totally binned, they were still like within 57 seconds, like under 58. So
Yep.
It's like super consistent, really predictable. It just behaves. It did what I wanted it to do.
And then the M340, your car, 1 minute and 7/10.
Yeah, 1 minute 0.77.
So you were about 3 seconds slower.
Yeah.
3 and some change.
Which is a big delta between like a 60-second lap. That's a big difference.
How much better did you get with the...
Yeah, so this is with the new tires. This is with the Kumos. And so the previous lap...
So is that the actual name?
Yes, that's the pronunciation. So with the Kumos on, I'm like about 3 seconds faster because it was a 103.4, 103.5, 103.6. So like about 3 seconds faster, 2.5 to 3 seconds faster on these tires. So these are still 225s. That's got 275s up front and 285s on the back.
Yeah.
Also 19 in front, 20s in the back. But the thing that really struck me was, oh my God, I've never been in something that reacts so quickly on track. Like the closest competitor that we've had to this, that we've put around the Motorplex, was the RCF Track Edition. And that thing felt, in comparison, so agricultural. Like slower, naturally aspirated torque band, a lot heavier, didn't change direction, and to me, like, so much of this car and so much of its pace comes from the chassis, especially in that last section when you're kind of doing that chicane before you get onto the straight. The thing where it changes directions when you're in that tight left-hander and then going into the tight right-hander, I've never felt something just pivot and just like do what I want.
Just get like really stuck in. I mean, yeah, it just feels. Obviously I wasn't there, but I did some spirited driving over the weekend, and it just sticks to the road like nothing we've really ever been in.
Yeah.
It's honestly incredible, and it's really hard to kind of put into words and fathom how great it is. But like the chassis rigidity, the suspension, obviously you have Pilot Sport 4s, which I mean like
it's a great tire, and there's a lot of tire under there.
Yeah.
And also the thing that really struck right away was the carbon ceramics. It's an $8,500 option. If you're never going to track the car, don't waste the money because the steels are going to be fine. But on the track, they were so predictable. They had so much stopping power. I found myself like really pushing the braking zones because I trusted the car more and more each lap.
Right.
And that's usually when you start to get heat into the brakes, and you have to start backing off a little bit. So I'm just like dynamically, and then you have all this torque and horsepower coming out of a corner. It's just like every part of that car just worked on track, except for the steering. The steering made me want to throw up.
Well, it's sharp. It just has no feel.
It reacts.
Yes.
But like I don't know.
Right.
Like it's just numb.
Yes.
it's just numb under there.
It's
and
almost
it's really light in track mode. It's really light.
It is really light. Which is interesting compared to the what did we have last week? The
GLB AMG.
Yeah, the steering when you put that in like sport mode.
Yeah.
Got really heavy.
Yep. Well, and it's funny too because like the steering on my car is way heavier than even in track mode on this, which is just shocking.
It is kind of.
But yeah, I mean, this thing you can quickly find the limit and you can like be safely on the limit. This thing, I mean, it's so dynamic, it's so sharp, it's so on its toes. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I also just did like some 60 to a stop just to see how like good this carbon ceramics. I mean, like they're incredible.
So much bite.
Cornering, it's just insane.
Yep.
0 to 60, the acceleration is nuts. There's really no. I mean, there's a bit of like turbo lag, but it's honestly not as bad as like some of the more recent cars we've had.
Yeah, you stay higher in the rev range and you're all right.
Like compared to the X6M, I thought that had a lot more turbo lag in a sense. Like you really had to kind of ramp up to get into the power band versus this. It was like pretty linear, which was nice.
For me, I was just amazed with brakes, tires, and chassis. And you know, power is great. I think there's one point where I like screamed up the front straight because I was just like I was going so fast, and I was just so like happy because the car was doing everything that I was like thinking, like almost telepathically.
Right.
And I was just like, this is the best thing ever, you know? Like I've never had that in this car.
I feel like I say it a lot, but I genuinely think I'm in love with this car. In the sense that like I want it.
In the matte white.
Don't know if I can afford it, but I want this.
Sure.
Okay, styling.
Yeah, let's move on. We've talked about my car. I love my spec, the mineral white with the black and the carbon fiber and everything. It's filthy now, I'm sorry. Like I like the look, but it's a 3 Series. You don't have the crazy flared fenders. You don't have the big grille, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, I think your car is like nice and subtle with the M accents.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I wish I could have your front fascia, your front grille on this, but the flared hips on this thing, it's incredible.
Yeah, and you see that back door area right there where like they didn't change the door from the 340.
Right.
So the door itself isn't bulged, so you get this really aggressive chine where that fender starts to come in. Yeah, from the back 3/4 I think is the best angle of this car. One, because you don't have to see the grille, but also two, it just genuinely looks great.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Flared out fenders for me just like do it.
Yes.
It's just like that's like my T.
100%. Now I will say objectively, F80 generation M3 is probably my favorite, the previous gen.
Yes.
But this does all right, and I'm making peace with the grille.
I do feel like you get used to it.
Yeah. It's been normalized. But I love the frozen brilliant white and the gold calipers.
Yeah, I was just about to say this. Like this spec here is genuinely probably how I would want to spec it. Like this matte
with
white.
The anniversary roundels everywhere.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you put a 340 grill on that, perfect car.
Road driving, and I did a lot of. I guess we actually both did a lot of.
Yeah, so why don't
driving.
you speak to some of your road driving experiences, just kind of general public daily stuff.
So, I'll start out with the negatives because there really wasn't many. I do feel like, though, at low speeds, and especially when the car is still getting warm, it tends to be really jerky with acceleration and braking. That's also in reverse. Minor. I would say once it's kind of warmed up and stuff, it's a lot better. But like driver assist features, incredible.
Great. It's got the auto the auto lane change.
Yep.
So you just keep your hands on the wheel, you do a
exactly.
little tap.
And honestly, you can just be kind of holding it like this. It's
you just have to be in contact
exactly.
with it. Yeah.
Yep. So that was really nice. I thought it handled bumps really well. Like the suspension in comfort mode is dialed in. I feel like it was better than yours on the run flats.
This is what I was going to say. Yes. So the difference that you're giving up on ride quality, you're not giving up anything.
No.
From a non-adaptive damper run flat M340 and an M3 competition, you're not losing anything in ride quality.
No.
Like I was kind of like annoyed.
A little shocked. Yeah, like
I was shocked
there's
and annoyed.
really
Like, why is mine so
like,
tight?
Here it's like people are like, oh, M340, it's the daily, like you can, it's more livable. It's like honestly, this thing is
the same.
Yeah, it is, and quite frankly, it's a little bit better than the run flats on the M340. No adaptive
I would even say
suspension.
that because what I noticed that is like it's tight and it feels stiff, but it's not crashy in the
Right.
way that this is on run flats.
Yep.
This is crashy and harsh and kind of abrasive.
Yep.
That is a little bit more forgiving. You got a little bit more sidewall. It's not a run flat, fine. But yeah, ride quality.
It just feels really
Fine.
rigid, which is fine and like really well put together. Where
100%.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
From a daily perspective, the only thing that I'm going to say is one of the big differences. Obviously, there's a big difference in power, but like I can cruise and get like low 30 mpg. I like barely got over 20 in this thing.
Which is interesting.
If I'm babying it.
Because they're similar
They're
engines.
the same engines on paper. 3 liters, straight 6, turbocharged.
Yeah,
now obviously
different turbos.
Being a little obtuse. But like the funny thing was, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say probably different turbos, right? And then the tune is probably different as well.
Yeah, so it's intended to be different.
But it is interesting that there is that gap.
It's a big gap.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, the X6M that we had 2 weeks ago, when I babied that, I got the same MPG. I got like
with
20.
the V8, yeah.
Yeah, with 4.4 twin turbo V8 with 600 horsepower. So 100 more horsepower, 2 more cylinders, 1.5 liters of displacement, big heavy thing, unaerodynamic, gets like the same fuel economy.
That actually is really funny.
So this is a great sales pitch for the V8 from
actually
BMW.
Is. Yeah. I will say the first thing I noticed getting into this was the exhaust. I felt like I learned how to make the sounds that I kind of wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like the V8,
it
obviously.
Doesn't sound, no. I honestly will say, and I played an exhaust, I captured like an exhaust clip of this exhaust versus that exhaust, and I think I like the AWE better.
Yeah, it's louder for sure.
Louder. I think it's got a little bit more tone to it. This sounds kind of synthesized, especially in the cabin when you got the loud mode button on. That's pretty synthesized.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, I guess like to wrap up roads, like really no sacrifices with the M3.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The only sacrifice that I see you're making is fuel economy.
Yes, fuel economy, and I would say shockingly impressive how well it actually just did day-to-day driving.
Yeah.
Trunk space, the same.
Yep.
Rear seats, same.
Pretty much the same, yeah. You don't get map pockets on the back of these seats. That's really the only thing to know.
Right,
And
you're
not going to get them on the carbons either. So if you want map pockets, you're not going to get them on the M3.
Yeah, if that's like your
small thing to point out.
If that's your sticking point.
But yeah, that's really thorough.
So yeah, interiors. It's like M340 has more physical buttons, but I mean also.
This is facelifted.
Yes.
So it's got the iDrive 8, and this is pre-facelift. So I kind of like the physical buttons, but I also like the graphics and like the stuff that you can do in there. You've got the drift analyzer and stuff in there. Interior is kind of going to be like what you pick.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is obviously you've got the Fjord blue interior here on the M3, which I think a blue interior is not for every car. But when you have a matte white exterior with gold brakes, I think it works.
Everyone who's seen this blue said it was gorgeous.
It's very good. Now, it wasn't as good when I had it on the M4 convertible that was like bright Daytona blue on the outside. That didn't make any sense.
Right. No.
But here
yeah.
it makes a lot
because
of
that clashed.
sense. Yes, it
Yeah.
did. But yeah, here, and then the leather quality is really good. It feels genuinely rich and expensive.
Well, and
I
obviously,
really like it. The build is super solid.
on the interior here, you're going to be able to get like the bucket seats if you want. Like you can obviously kind of spec more.
Yeah, and if you do
performance-wise.
want the carbon buckets, those were the seats that we did have in the M4 comp, and those are actually, I mean, these are more comfortable, but those are okay. But you can get a cooled seat with the non-carbon buckets, and
these,
I like that.
I mean, the bolstering's good.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, I would get these seats.
Yeah.
I would 100% get
comfortable.
these seats.
Anything else on the interior?
No, just, classic solid BMW build. Nothing's rattling or shaking or creaking.
Yeah, tech, we kind of talked about the Driver Assist Pro features.
Very similar. I mean,
Yeah.
it's iDrive 8. We've reviewed it a number of times versus, the previous. It's fine. You're not really missing much from 7 or whatever this is. 8 just gets you a few more things like the drift analyzer and whatever.
Which you said you didn't really actually use that.
I did not use it.
Yeah.
Because I was already concerned that I was going to go through tires and I didn't want to be that guy.
Right. Okay, so then next we have pricing. So M3 starts at 80,000. As tested here, it's 105.
That's big money.
Main things that kind of add up to that: carbon ceramics.
Yeah, carbon ceramics are 8,500.
The matte white.
The matte white I think is like 3,600, so it's individual frozen brilliant white.
And
And then
then
the fjord blue,
yes,
which is like 2,600.
And then
So
there's
it
a
ends up being like
few-
about 15 grand.
a few others like executive
Yeah, there's other little
driver.
things there.
Yeah.
But I think you can save 15 grand by not getting the carbon ceramics, getting a normal paint, getting a normal interior.
So
and
for
then at
90K,
I think you have
90K.
a great freaking car.
Yes.
A great car.
M340 starts at 60 for X-Drive, 2,000 less if you want the rear-wheel drive.
I think I've been on the website and I've spec'd out a new M340 to like 66. So let's say a $25,000 jump to get up to the M3. It's a big money jump, but that is a lot more car. That's really the thing that stuck out to me is like, how different can they really be? Like fatter tires, a different engine, more chassis stiffening. How different can they really be? No, it's a big difference.
Yes.
If you are going to drive this thing at its limit on a track, on a closed course, be safe, that is a step and a half above the M340. This is a great car. I love this car. Very, very dynamic, very good car. But that's something else.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, the last question to kind of summarize it is like, is the M3 worth the extra money?
Oh.
I would say 1,000% yes.
I would say yes.
The only reason I feel like I would end up with an M340 over an M3 is because of the price. You aren't sacrificing anything
You really not.
with the M3 in terms of like daily livability compared to an M340. Like, but you get so much more.
Yes. If you're not going to take either car on track, if you're just going to kind of putt around town, you're not going to need the M3. But if you really want to have that step above in terms of performance and dynamicism, that is a better engineered car. That is a very good car.
But I do just think there's this thought out there that, if I want something more livable, more daily, I should get the M340.
Don't need that.
Yeah, like this can do it. I think that's probably the
100%.
point I would personally want to make in this video. Is like you really aren't sacrificing a single thing.
I genuinely think, having lived with this for 6 months or whatever it's been, and then having this for the last week, the only thing that you're giving up from a daily perspective is just fuel economy. So if you don't care, then that all day.
Yeah. No, it was. I feel like I'd have so much speeding tickets with this M3.
Yeah,
Like
it would be a problem real fast.
Yeah, it would become an issue. I really do hope I can own at least one of these cars one day.
Someday soon. But yes, thank you guys for watching. Thank
you have
you
a bug
to
on
BMW.
your shirt, like right there.
Thank you to you for watching. Thank you to Road America for letting us test cars on the track. Thank you to BMW for letting us test this M3
It was a
around track.
special
It was
week.
fantastic.
For
Yeah, very
sure.
special week. So thank you again, and we'll see you in the next one.